Hey everybody, it's Phil. It's another segment of Five with Phil. I'm out here in the garage at our house roasting coffee because we're kind of running low and had some folks I wanted to roast some coffee for. So if you know our friends Alan and Malin, they're in North Carolina and they are at a stay-at-home shelter-in-place quarantine as a state. So they're pretty limited as to what they could be doing right now. But they mentioned the other day they were out of coffee, and I figured, hey, you know what? I can make them some hopefully decent coffee. So I went ahead and roasted some coffee for them and some other friends here in town, as well as ourselves. We're running a little bit low here at the house too. But as I was sitting down to do that, I started thinking about the process of roasting coffee, and that process goes through different changes and stuff. And so many of you guys may or may not know, but roasting coffee, you start with these little green beans. They are right there. They're just little green looking beans. And so, and then they turn into these brown roasted beautiful things. And so the process of that is you put them in a roaster, and the particular roaster I've got has a little drum. It's a cylinder that's wire mesh, and you put the beans in there and then they cook. Looks like a toaster oven. And during the process, you put them in there, and the heat will obviously cook the beans and roast the beans. But during that process, they start out being that little green bean, and eventually they'll change into a light yellow color and then a darker yellow color that turns into brown. And throughout that process, they visually change. And depending on your roast preference, you can go dark roast, which makes them almost black. They start to taste like Starbucks coffee, which is really not my preference. Most people don't really like coffee to taste like an ashtray, but people at Starbucks like them that way. So if you guys like them that way, kudos to you. Not my preference, but when they pull them out at a light to light medium roast, there's still a lot of caffeine involved in there, but there's also a lot of flavors that are still in the beans. And so through that process, there's a difference in the visual look at it as the heat cooks the beans, but it also goes through a different smell through each stage as you go through there. Some people liken it to smelling kind of like freshly cut grass, which I don't disagree with that. But each different stage has a different smell, has a different look, and it got me thinking because. Don't have a lot else to do right now but think about different things, but I got to thinking about the process that coffee beans go through as they're being roasted. And I think about our lives as believers. We go through these different phases and different stages in life, and Solomon writes about in Ecclesiastes, there's a season for everything, there's a time for everything. And so during this time that we're quarantined, or during this time that we're stuck at home or not allowed to be around a lot of people, what are you doing with this season? A lot of people, myself included, have been binge watching a lot of TV shows on Netflix and other avenues and outlets like that. But I want you to think about the opportunities that we have in this as well, and I want to challenge you as well as myself as to how we're using this time. Are we using this time to learn more about Jesus and spend more time in prayer and spend more time intentionally praying for the people around us? As well as maybe going and meeting your neighbors from across the street, next door, spending time with your family. I'm excited about Pastor John's message tomorrow because it's going to be challenging us a lot in our relationships with people, even in our own home. And so I want to challenge you guys as your student pastor, as your friend, or whatever relationship I have with you during this time. Are you wasting the time that God is seasoning you, and that the way that He's kind of changing your chemistry, because you're having to do some things that you're not really used to? You're going through some times of heat and through some times of difficulty because of not being able to be around people all the time like you're used to. That difficulty doesn't only exist within the student life, but also within your parents' lives. And so as parents, I want to encourage you guys as parents, man, during this time, get to know your kids a little bit better. A lot of times, if your kids are public school educated, they're at the school for 8 to 10 hours a day between classes and athletics and sports and things like that. And so take the opportunities that you have now to spend time getting to know your kids a little bit, asking them questions, and don't settle for a one-word answer like okay or yes or fine. And students, give your parents the opportunity to get to know you some and get to know your parents as well. Parents, this is a great time if you've received Christ to talk to your student and talk to your child about what it means to follow Jesus. That's one of the things that I want to do with my parents and with my grandparents even, is to find out their testimony about when they came to know Jesus. And so I want to challenge you all this week as you do that to jump in there and spend some time getting to know each other, learn about each other's walk with Jesus, when that began and what that's looked like, good times, bad times, all that kind of stuff. And I would look forward to meeting you guys and seeing you guys again soon, hopefully in person. But for sure at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we'll be having our main services live stream through YouTube and Facebook. And student ministry, we're going to live stream on YouTube at 1 o'clock. I'll be live streaming from the church. Would love to see you guys jump on there. I'll also share the link for that live stream in the morning on Remind, as well as the main service live stream. So anyway, looking forward to seeing you guys online tomorrow. Looking forward to worshiping with you guys. And again, find opportunities to get to know your family, get to know your friends a little better during this time. And so anyway, love you guys. Been praying for y'all. Hope y'all are praying for us as well. So we'll talk to y'all